Hey everybody,
I'm Sam.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Will, and we are
Working Title!
You know, listen, if we want to do all the same thing, we gotta say it beforehand, because I don't pay attention.
Oh, no, I was looking at you because that means you're my arch enemy.
Oh, really?
Being on the dark side.
I've always been a Jedi most of my life, but today I've turned.
Guys, today we are back for another Star Wars reaction. This is the Obi-Wan Kenobi premium mini-series that is going to be on Disney Plus, I believe. Probably the most anticipated Star Wars thing.
Easily.
I was just telling the guys I have no clue what to expect. We can see the very first second in its desert. Our boy, Ewan McGregor, is coming back.
Yes.
Will's favorite.
Yes. Greatest Jedi of all time.
Absolutely, hands down.
Don't care. Not Luke.
Well, guys, we're just going to hop into it. So if you like this reaction, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy our content. Go check out some of our Star Wars playlists we have available for you. We've done both seasons of Mandalorian. We just finished the Book of Boba. We've also done Star Wars Visions, which is a mix of anime and Star Wars, and the Bad Batch show that we did with Will and Adam guest starred on it. So check out the Patreon as well if you want to see some of our early access content. Join our Discord and talk to us about all things Star Wars with us and our best buddy Carlos. Another shout out. What's up, mate? And yeah, we're just gonna jump into this. So punch it. Bah!
Oh my god, I was like, what are we looking at?
Phantom Menace Camel.
Oh!
The fight is done. We lost.
Damn. There it is.
Yeah, there's Luke.
Stay hidden.
Oh my god.
Hell yeah!
Holy shit.
Oh boy.
Oh.
Jedi. His patience.
Whoa.
Inquisitors?
Jedi cannot help what they are.
Oh!
Their compassion
It's all
Yeah.
of them.
leaves a trail.
Oh my
Yes!
god.
Yes! Oh my gosh,
Jedi
guys.
code is like an itch. He cannot help it. Where is he?
That's the Grand Inquisitor. Oh, there's
Dude,
two
it's the Rebels, guys.
Oh.
Well, you hear it?
Oh, man.
Wow.
Talk about the last trailer we watched, thinking it was quick. This felt super fast. Okay. One more time, just to jog our memories.
Whatever you want to do.
Oh man.
One more time.
Seems like I would have watched it again.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I do.
The fight is done. We lost. Stay hidden.
That's so perfect, dude.
Oh my gosh. They couldn't have done a better opening song for this. Okay, so Adam, I know you're not really familiar with these guys, but Vader's got a whole group of Inquisitors. You think that's the Grand one?
That's
The
definitely
Grand Master?
Yeah, Grand Inquisitor.
Jedi cannot help what they are.
Oh.
Their compassion leaves a
The
trail.
glowing.
Gosh, they're coming to Tatooine looking for him. What planet is that?
Mhm.
Code is like an itch.
It looks like
He cannot help it.
Narsh. It looks like Narsh a little bit. Yeah.
Where is he?
Who is that? He's like talking to her.
Is that the brother from Rebels? Like the fifth brother or something?
It might be one of the ones we didn't see because the fifth brother I think was a little bigger.
I thought he was bigger. Yeah.
I don't know. It could just be for live action sake.
Okay. Wow. What is the limited series? Is that like 6 episodes, 3 episodes?
I think it just means there's no season 2.
Okay. That's good for me.
Probably.
Don't need to make it longer than it needs to be.
You know what? That definitely is that brother. That definitely is.
It's just the hat that he's wearing.
It's definitely that one.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be taller once we see the show. It's hard to know.
Yeah.
What you talking about?
So, I don't know the exact origin of the Inquisitors. Do you remember where they come from? It's like Jedi that Anakin was able to turn, or...
Yeah, so the Grand Inquisitor, who's the bald guy, he was a temple guard.
Yeah.
Which temple guards are you see them in Clone Wars. I don't even know if you really ever see them in the movies.
Yeah, no,
But-
Adam wouldn't have seen them. They have white robes.
They wear
golden
white robes.
lightsabers.
They wear a mask, and they have a golden lightsaber. It's generally like a staff and then a saber that comes out the end of it. But anyways, he was one of them, this bald guy, and he becomes the Grand Inquisitor. Inquisitors were basically commissioned by the Empire as dark side users to hunt down Force-sensitive children and surviving Jedi and Padawan that lived through Order 66.
I remember a little bit about that because we were theorizing in season 2 of Mando that
Might be an Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Yes, with
We did talk briefly.
Bo-Katan's.
Bo-Katan. Yeah.
Good memory. Wow.
That was really good. But anyway, so they're in Star Wars Rebels. That's where they were introduced, but they're in the Vader comics that Marvel has made. And what's Fallen
Order?
Fallen Order. Yeah, that's in Star Wars Fallen Order. You play as a Jedi Padawan that survived Order 66, who's a teenager.
Cal Katarn?
Cal Kestis.
Cal Kestis.
Yeah.
But
Joker from Gotham.
You're thinking of
Yes, he is Joker.
Who's the other guy from Rebels? My gosh, Blind Man. Why am I blanking?
Why did you? Do you assume?
I'm blanking now. He's my favorite guy too. What's happening with my mind?
Ezra, Syndulla,
Kanan
Kanan
Jarrus. Another guy.
Kanan
who's on
Jarrus,
the-
Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Inquisitors were they're
Jedi hunters.
yeah, they're just
essentially.
Jedi hunters. They're low level dark side users. I mean, they're not
It's people who are really easy to manipulate once the battle came to Jedis who might not have had any experience against overwhelming forces, including Anakin. So a lot of them went and got tortured and kind of forced into this soldier. I don't know if their prime focus is necessarily killing the Jedi, but also indoctrinating more and grabbing more to torture and bend the will too.
Well,
ideally,
they do the anti what Jedi did. They seeked out Force sensitive kids. That's what they did with this. But they also hunted anytime there was a Jedi. That was part of main part of their mission though, Sam. Because that's every time you see an Inquisitor, they're hunting a Force sensitive, whether it's a child or a suspected Jedi.
Yeah. So there's a strong probability that one specific one I know from Rebels has a sense to hunt. So most likely, if I had to guess, they might have picked up a scent on Tatooine of Force sensitivity. So Luke Skywalker or Obi-Wan, maybe Obi-Wan being the stronger of the Force sensitives at the time, might have to run away to draw the presence away from Luke, is what I would guess. I'm trying to remember what brothers they're referred to brother and sister. So I know second sister, Fallen Order, ninth sister, Fallen Order.
Wait, how many are there?
There's there might be
let me just it's in the air. I don't know if there's necessarily a number. I think they keep adding to the roster because we don't know all of them. That's why one of them, the girl with the braids, I've never seen before, so she might be one of the ones we haven't been listed out of the main 9. But I think there might be more. But while Will's checking that,
Are Inquisitors? I know this is different time periods. Are Inquisitors the same as like the Knights of Ren?
no. I mean, same type of premise where it's like a Sith Lord or like a Sith user with his cronies. But the Knights of Ren are like nobodies. I don't even, to be fair, I still don't know what the Knights of Ren really are because I just didn't care too much when they just neglected them in the films. But these are literal like kind of agents, like FBI agents for the government.
Yeah.
The government being the Empire. Except they're like the brass, the top Marines to go out and do missions if it's not Vader himself.
Yeah. So in the comics, they show all of them. There's only 2 that haven't been seen in like anything video related, or their video game, TV show, or this. And it's like they weren't named as like the 10th brother. Just kidding. There was 4, but 2 of them weren't named. One was like an unknown male Twi'lek Inquisitor, and then another was an unknown female Inquisitor. But they're both alien. Well,
okay.
This is what she looks like. It's like a red.
Not her.
I'll send a picture soon, but it's like a red-skinned alien. But they said there was 10, but it doesn't mean there can't be more. It doesn't mean that this was in the comics when they introduced them. It's like when Vader first makes the Inquisitors, because he basically fights all of them. Like he fights them and like takes something from them, like takes just like how Vader lost limbs and became like this like half man person. You know what I mean? Half man, half cyborg. I think he does that a little bit to almost all of them.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But yeah, no, I mean, like they like Sam said, they like torture these people too into being dark side users.
Now with this trailer, what are your immediate thoughts? I know it's exciting to see the Inquisitors. That's like it's like the super jump out of the trailer because we're so familiar with Ewan's face, but he looks really good.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, it really doesn't look much different than the Revenge of the Sith version of him. You know,
He just looks older, and
Yeah.
I mean, clearly a couple years have passed because we saw Luke, as a little kid. I'm super excited. I mean, it looks good. My only reservation is just because of how Book of Boba went. That's my only reservation with the show. I'm really, really hoping they put their best foot forward with this specifically. But even in Mando, it's just hard because it's one of those things where it's like we hold it so close and dear, Obi-Wan. Like it's like I don't want them to fuck it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think they will. I think it'll be good, but
a healthy skepticism.
Yeah.
is definitely needed. Going
just
into
even
this.
considering the few there were some random episodes of Mando that weren't that great, and then and it's not that it's a bad show. It doesn't make it a bad show. It's just there were some that were throwaways, and then Boba, half the season was kind of a throwaway.
Yeah.
I just don't want anything in this to be. I don't want anything in this to be wrong, or bad, or not. It's a high standard, whatever. We're Star Wars fans. Surprise,
Hence the don't get your hopes up.
Yeah.
Definitely go watch our Mando videos if you want to hear more, because I think we give fair criticism to Mando, especially Book of Boba Fett. We're not just as much as we are hype nerds for Star Wars, and we will consume anything Star Wars related. We've definitely given our fair share. If you've definitely watched the finale of Book of criticism, if you've gone and watched the Book of Boba, so Book of Boba, I said I didn't think we needed, just because it's a fan favorite. They wanted to do something fun for the audience, but I worry with the Obi-Wan show because he is far more revered by a grander audience. And what I prefaced in the Book of Boba show is sometimes it's best to not continue building lore on an already loved character if you don't need to.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
So it's I think where my reservation is, I really like Obi-Wan. He's not my favorite Jedi, but out of the prequels, he's a phenomenal character. Don't tarnish what's already golden.
Yeah. I will say, though, I think that, one thing that and I wasn't, the hugest Legends person, you know what I mean? Outside of, the canon, before Disney. They're, I knew more stuff about, the Kyle Katarn, post-Empire era than, the in-between prequel and original trilogy stuff. So, I don't know what was, like, the OG version of what Obi-Wan was, like, doing in that time. But to me, it was always just, like, he's just, like, existing. Just watching over Luke. But, like, you have to imagine it, especially, like, getting older and not being a kid and getting to think about it more. Like, you have to imagine that they would have sent people... Like, they knew Obi-Wan was alive. Vader knew Obi-Wan was alive because...
He didn't die.
He whacked him. I mean, Obi-Wan was the reason that Vader is who he is now. So, like, I'm sure that they had to have been hunting for him for years. If not the whole time up until he appeared on the Death Star.
And I'm pretty sure even after Obi-Wan and Yoda went to the temple... and turned off the clone's signal to come to the temple, people had recognized that he had done that. So people had realized that there was a presence there, and he was able to get out and go to Mustafar, whack one of the strongest Sith, and peace out with a child. Well, Darth Vader, they don't know about the child, but...
Yeah, they just think Padme died at that point, so they don't know about Luke and Leia, but...
And whether or not you want to get rid of midichlorians in the show, Luke should still potentially have as high a count as... Yoda and Obi-Wan, meaning it would make sense if the Inquisitors show up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it.
Book of Boba had a lot of Mando in it, too. Mm-hmm. But we also got the Order 66 shot of Grogu. Do you think that will also play into this?
Maybe. We don't know. Spoiler for Book of Boba real quick.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. We don't know how Grogu escaped from the situation, but Obi-Wan wouldn't have been at the temple.
Because
he came after the fact.
Yeah.
It could be somebody we get introduced in the show.
It looked like the night of...
Anakin's attack.
Yeah, it looked like it was the night of Anakin's attack that Grogu was getting attacked as well.
And Obi-Wan would have been on Utapau at that time.
Yeah.
Or with, Leia's father, so...
I'm hoping that this stays more
just Obi-Wan.
Original trilogy / Rebellion era, or like Empire era Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really want it to, like, not that I don't want it to connect, but like we already know where Obi-Wan's story ends and like what he does at that point. That's why, like, just let it be. With this, you know what I mean? Like, just let it reside within its own self. We don't need to add Grogu or like
Grogu doesn't need to be featured.
Ahsoka doesn't need to be featured. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's.
I will say this: the one thing I wouldn't be against is maybe Cal Kestis, because this would be a time that he's also out and about exploring the universe, and maybe a Jedi or an encounter with somebody who might have been at the temple, because it looks like he's going outside of Tatooine. He might have to get allies to tag team, or he could do it on his own. But if he does, it would be cool if, like, maybe we meet somebody either familiar or original that says, yeah, I was at the temple that night, I took a child or a couple children with me, and I had to just deposit them at different family groups across the galaxy that I trusted. Something that would be, like, not taking away from Obi-Wan, but a hint we could take going into other series. I think I agree with you. I think Obi-Wan can live on his own. He's fine. He's a great character. But I wouldn't be against, like, little tiny things that the fans can grab and use as evidence for later shows.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, like, and there's nothing wrong with, like, even if it's not later shows, but, like, grabbing from stories within. Because, like, Bail Organa knew to get in contact with Obi-Wan, with Leia. Like, of course, in the beginning, when they were on Polis Massa, when they were all like, all right, you take the girl, you go that way, I'll go take the son to his closest relatives, and I'll watch out for him over there. And then Yoda just, went to Dagobah. But I'm saying, like, it wouldn't be unheard of if Obi-Wan had some type of communication.
You just get hit by what? You got hit by Revelation? I got hit by Revelation, but let's hear yours first.
Maybe some Qui-Gon? You think?
Oh, maybe
at least
some
voice.
Interacting with Liam Neeson?
At least the voice.
Maybe. Well, I just thought of one too. In the, I don't know if it's canon now, but Dax, the diner guy,
hey, old buddy.
He took Jedi. He took Jedi to the Outer Rims.
Dude, that'd be awesome.
It could have been him.
Yeah.
We might get, but what better time to bring Dax if he's alive than in an Obi-Wan show?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe that's the person who, I'm just calling it now. I'm going to say Dax will be in this show.
Yeah.
Liam Neeson will be in this. Hayden Christensen, obviously. And it's funny, Because Will messaged us today, said stay off social, Obi-Wan's out, and I got super hyped. But 2 nights ago, I fell asleep watching The Giver, which I don't know if anyone knows that film, but the actor who plays Cal Kestis, that's one of his early films.
Yeah.
So it would be so ironic of all times if he gets incorporated into something that I just recently watched, just like having him consistently present. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, you know how things start to reoccur or pop up in your life when they're about to have a big debut again?
Yeah.
I'm calling it.
I have another question. And understand Luke was raised and grew up on Tatooine. Why the fuck do we keep going to this planet?
It's the core planet.
Is it?
I told you. I mean, your experience is ruined because of Boba. But this is
Mando. We go to Tatooine on Mando as well.
I mean, but you gotta remember, this is where the movie started. I mean, like, this is where
I was thinking that.
I mean, this is like literally Tatooine is like other than the opening fight with Vader invading Leia's ship, Tatooine is the first place we set foot on.
Yeah.
It's also where Anakin is raised. It's where Luke is raised. You know, it's also the center of. It's also the center of like the underworld too. Like, you know, it's a pivotal, important place to be. You know what I mean?
And just for practicality, it's easy to shoot in a desert if you want to have big, expensive things flying around and empty canvas.
Versus trying to make 1,000,000-mile-high skyscrapers everywhere with flying ships going all over the place.
Now, speaking of that, we did get a cityscape.
See, whatever planet you were saying, I thought it was where the Jedi Temple is, Coruscant. Is that Coruscant?
Coruscant, but I mean, it could be that. It could be an area we're not familiar with.
Like the beginning of the Attack of the Clones, when Anakin and Obi-Wan are going after that assassin.
Yeah. Now that's like the upper echelon districts of Coruscant, the really rich areas. That looks more like kind of blocky. That's why I said Nar Shaddaa, which is kind of like Coruscant, but it has darker color palettes. It could be something new too.
Is that the same? Is that the name of the planet that? Remember in Rebels, the one they always went to that was like a purple planet, like in the early first 2 seasons, when they were fighting the Inquisitors. It
wouldn't be Nar Shaddaa only because Nar Shaddaa is not in Rebels, but
yeah, I just don't remember what it was called. That's the one I thought of. Like they're like running across the rooftops. Like it's not on Lothal, I don't think. I think they're somewhere else.
Purple planet. I would have to.
It was like a purple sky. I can show you an image afterwards.
Okay,
but
I'll throw it up for you.
That's what it looked like. Kind of reminded me.
Okay.
Of.
I feel like we're not gonna get a whole lot of Obi-Wan doing some action and fighting with a lightsaber. I'm assuming just because of I feel like it's gonna be the wise old Ben Kenobi who is just chilling and watching over Luke.
He's still got some moves in his old age, I have to say.
Yeah,
he does.
Man.
I think that we'll see him fight, but I think it'll be more low key because he doesn't want to give up that he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he also doesn't want to give up that he's hiding on Tatooine, clearly protecting something.
Yeah, a lightsaber's quite a red flag at this time.
Yeah,
it's not something you really want to ignite.
Yeah,
and that did not do well for Cal Kestis
or Canon Jarrus either.
No. It's a huge red flag.
And if I had to guess, there'd be some other Jedi on this show too. If we're going to all these different planets,
maybe if Obi-Wan gets like networked with some people that are out there. That's why I said Dax. Like if he knows people that knows people, that's just the tricky thing. Fallen Order had a lot to do with like who can I find
connecting Jedi that are still alive that weren't like they're not like the generals or the council that we knew, but they were like. You know, maybe a Jedi Knight that survived, like Canon Jarrus, that, you know, was able to just get by.
I will say now, do you guys, just to not, like, spoil, do you know the announcement of another actor who will be in the show?
Besides what I think you're about to say?
Okay. I think we all know that Hayden was announced, like, a year ago to be in the show.
Yeah.
I just didn't want to say, just in case Adam didn't know.
No,
I know
you've talked about it before.
Okay. But I always thought maybe it'd be a flashback way he gets incorporated, but now with the Inquisitors, it's very likely he could be an actual presence. Maybe like Rogue One, where it's like just in and out, like not really thoroughly here, but even that would be awesome for me. You know?
Yeah, I just think about that too with like Obi-Wan. It's like how much, like having him connect with like if Dax was in the show, but having him connect with the Dax is fine because it doesn't like really mess with everything. I just can't see him like really interacting with Vader at this point.
Yeah, you would have to be very careful.
You have to be very careful how you do that because I feel like they make it seem. I haven't read all the comics. I feel like somebody once told me that there was a comic where him and Obi-Wan face off again, like pre A New Hope. I don't know if that's factual. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But to me, I always took it in A New Hope as like this is like actually the first time they had seen each other since, Mustafar at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Actually, I do know one thing. I think that the human woman that's an Inquisitor, I think she's supposed to be like the main bad. I don't know, but that doesn't know. That's what somebody had told me that there was like a female Inquisitor that was like
makes sense.
The head of all of this. But if the Grand Inquisitor's involved, he's like.
It's always easier to not have an alien fully present all the time. It's easier to just have a human.
And maybe he's like the one that commissions her to do the hunt, and then she's like in charge of like their squad.
Yeah. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Me too. Guys, if you enjoyed this reaction, leave a like, punch the subscription button, comments, check out the Patreon, check out our other Star Wars stuff that we watched, Mando, Book of Boba, and all that other fun stuff, and we'll catch you in the next trailer reaction. Punch it.
Bah!